Good day. This is Sylvie with another health tip with Holistic Health with Sylvie. Today I'll be talking about rebounding. I am actually rediscovering it. I used to rebound way, way, way back, and I imagine it had benefits, maybe so many benefits that I stopped doing it. And now that I feel like maybe I could use a little extra help, I'm starting to rebound again. And it's really quite miraculous. There are so many amazing testimonials. I plan on reading a couple. I put one link for one of the testimonials. I'll put those at the end so that if you don't want to listen to them, you don't need to. I'll just give you the facts, and then if you want further information, then you can just follow on and actually listen to the testimonials. Rebounding is an amazing exercise. It uses a mini trampoline, and there are many different kinds. Some are very expensive, some are very affordable, and some have springs and some don't. Now, it looks like some of the research that I was doing, if you have a lot of trauma, the one that has more of an elastic system might be best for you. Saying that, I don't know. I didn't look at pricing or whatever. I have a really, really old one that I got, I think, in the 90s, I imagine, before the 2000s. So it's very old and it still works great. And I think I got it for $250 or something like that way back then. I was on quite a tight budget, so it was a huge expenditure for me. And so I managed to keep it and keep it in good shape. So I'm starting again. I'm enjoying it. It feels great. I haven't really been doing it long enough to give any of my own personal testimonials. So there it goes. Let's see what else. Okay, so it's a great way of exercising so that there is less impact on your system. And the bouncing is really amazing because what it does is it affects your lymphatic system in miraculous ways. So it actually, since your lymphatic system doesn't actually have some kind of a pump or system to move it through your system, it needs motion. And it looks like NASA has done a lot of research on this as well because it's been helping the astronauts supposedly when they go in space, whatever. Anyhow, for whatever that's worth, they've discovered that it's really helped them with bone density, maintenance, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So interesting. Also, many people are doing it. There's actually lots on YouTube. A lot of it is very potentially athletic, according to one of the testimonials. And I did find one that has a really good beginner version because really you don't need to do much with it. You don't need to do it for long. It looks like even just 3 minutes, 3 times a day is ideal, or whatever, however you can work it into your schedule. So it's a very quick thing. The only thing is the little piece of equipment does take some space. So it's finding out where you want to keep it in a way that's easy access where you're going to use it. That's probably the greatest challenge there. Mine is like, I don't know, about 2.5 feet wide, maybe just a little bit more, like just shy of 3 feet, I guess, diameter. I think there's different sizes. It stays in our living room now. We prop it up, and when we have guests, we hide it in the bedroom. So that's what we do. Let's see what else is good to say in terms of the lymphatic system and your nervous system. So a lot of people have had many, many amazing healing experiences using the rebounder regularly. Though that's the key, to use it regularly. So for heart conditions, nerve damage or nerve issues, lack of movement. One woman had one leg shorter than another. One man was very, very ill. He could be only in a wheelchair and he could hardly move, and everything was deteriorating. After a short while of using it, his color changed. He became healthier. He was able to move more. His muscle strength was able to help him transfer from wheelchair back and forth, and he was starting to regain health as opposed to lose it. So pretty amazing stuff. So it's a great way of exercise. It's great cardio. and you don't have to do it much. So if you're very, very busy, it's a really amazing way to kind of get the biggest bang for your time that you're putting into exercising. And then this one woman on one of the testimonials, she was hiking, she was jogging, she was exercising, she was doing weights at the gym, and she was trying to lose weight and, you know, eating supposedly all the right things. Now that could have been a little tricky because there are many different opinions about that. So there could have been some diet things, but without changing that, whatever she was doing that was supposedly healthy via her dietitian, it just helped her lymphatic system move things, and she proceeded to lose very stubborn weight that was quite a lot. It also helps reduce stress, so when you're doing that, so that also helps you lose weight as well, because I mentioned that in another one of my videos. Maybe I'll put that one down here too as a link. So if someone is really working on managing their weight, I give some really good information in that other video. So that could be useful. Just trying to think of anything else to really add that might be exceptionally exciting before I read the testimonials. Lymphatic system, bone density, muscle strength, muscle size increase, balance increase, overall health increase, detox, joint pain going away. So many amazing things that it has been helping people with, because our lymphatic system really needs a lot of help to move. So people are sedentary a lot, or it looks like even with the exercise, there's something magical about sort of being airborne, what it does with the gravity and going down. So it does something to our system, that sort of bouncing and being airborne for a moment and then going down. So that's really the magic that's happening with the Rebounder. Or if you want to get really wild and get one of those like mega, those trampolines for your backyard, you know, go nuts. I live in Canada, so several months out of the year that wouldn't be useful. Like I wouldn't be able to use it. So not ideal. Though, I mean, if you have kids and you can, you know, afford the space and the bigger system, you know, that's great. Great to get the kids started out early. Kids love to use the small ones as well. You can even sit on it. Oh, that's what I wanted to say. Yes. So some people, even if they're so, such difficulty with their health that they can't even stand, they can actually sit on a chair or their wheelchair and put their feet on the Rebounder and someone can bounce for them. Or they could sit on the edge of it and have someone bounce for them. Or you could bounce on your bottom. If you, let's say, injured your ankle or something and you just want to get some bouncing and you're feeling like maybe it's not quite time to put a whole lot of pressure or start jumping up and down, then that might be a way of doing it as well. So there's many ways of using it. You can be in actually very poor health and balance and all that and still benefit from the Rebounder. So that's pretty amazing. And just trying to think if there's anything else. I think that's it. Just been doing a lot of gardening, so it's been a long span from my last video to this video, and I'm just noticing that I have some grow lights to start my plants earlier, and I was very early this year, and I'm just noticing I actually have some fruits on one of my squash plants. It's just sort of a squirrel moment there, sorry, but I just had to share. It was pretty amazing. So, and the reason why I was slow with my videos, and so self-care and gardening explosion extravaganza. So I'm hoping to be more regular now again. So at least every 2 weeks was what I was doing before. Okay, I think I'm just going to share the other information. This is a very old book. Let's see. The Miracles of Rebound Exercise by Albert E. Carter. That's actually a friend of mine just loaned it to me since I was getting interested in rebounding. I'm just really curious about the copyright here. 1979, so it's been around for a long time. The pages are even yellow. Okay, so there was two that really stood out. They take a little bit of time. I'm going to read most of it. I might skip over a little bit of information if it's too much. And okay, that's not going to happen. without these. A little bit small print here. Working on, I haven't been making time to do the eye exercises, so here we go. This one woman, she said, okay, age 67, and she is a spry young lady now, younger than 3 years ago when her doctors told her that she would soon be in a wheelchair because of her condition. That bleak news didn't slow her down. She had been living with her left leg 3 inches shorter than her right all her life. At 10 months, she had polio that had impaired the normal growth of her left side. Through special effort, she had learned to type using both hands, but her left foot remained cold and numb. At 64, with the probability of a wheelchair in the near future, she was introduced to rebound exercise. She began rebounding rigorously. In less than a month, she noticed feeling in her left foot for the first time in 60 years. Her foot was no longer cold. After 2 months of rebounding, she found that she had to learn to walk all over again because she was able to walk on her left heel down to the floor, something she had not been able to do all her life. 6 months into rebounding, she called me and told me that her doctor had informed her she was suffering from growing pains, the same as a 7-year-old child. Her muscles in her left side and along her spine were getting stronger. Her doctor found she was standing 2 inches taller. She reports that her vision has improved. Hey, I'm looking forward to that. Amazingly, that she no longer uses her glasses except to read. Cool. I only use them for reading fine print, but any improvement is always welcome. Rebounding is far better than wheelchairing, she tells me. All right, so that's pretty cool. I thought that was pretty amazing. And then the other one is a little long, but let's see if I can kind of mention this other person. This that tells him what he was doing for a living. We don't really need to know that. He suffered most of his life from birth defect in his lower back, which caused his spine to torque or twist, causing constant tension and cramping in his back and neck. I think my great-grandmother had that. Her belly button was like all the way to her side. Okay. Keeping him always in pain. At 30, he made the decision to have his back fused to relieve the pain. The surgery involved taking bone from his hip and fusing the lower vertebrae to the sacrum. After surgery, from May to January, this man could not do anything because of the pain every time he moved. He was weaker than before. 8 months after surgery, an x-ray revealed that the fusion did not take. His doctor informed him that his only hope was another fusion. This time they would open him up through his abdomen and fuse the front of his spine. There had to be another way. It was at this time that he was introduced to rebound exercise. He started slowly because of the pain in his weak muscle condition. Through constant use of the rebounder every day, though many times he was in pain, his muscles began to respond and strengthen. After 6 months of exercise, the pain diminished. The tension and cramping of his back and neck have been eliminated as long as he rebounds every day. After living in constant pain for 13 years, it's easy to see why he is so enthused about the rebound exercise, especially no need for a second operation, and is feeling better at 33 than he did when he was a teenager. He says consistency is the most important thing. When asked what advice he would like to give others who are considering rebounding exercise. Oh, that's not the one I wanted to read. That's okay. I can either cut it out or go on to this one. This one was fascinating. This is an example of a man who was actually just sitting on the trampoline or putting his feet on it. We don't need to know when he was born. Okay. A 38-year-old male was pulled out of his crumpled automobile, so car accident, rushed to hospital. Okay. And he was semi-conscious for over 75 days with a crushed spine. He was released from hospital in October and wheeled home to convalesce Determined to not let a small accident get in his way, this Norm, I guess the man's name, began his long climb out of his wheelchair through a constant exercise and willpower. February 1961, that was in 1960, so I guess a year later, when he went to work walking slowly, but walking. His recovery was so remarkable that in 1963, he began driving a van, okay? Things were looking good for Norm and his family until sometime in 1965 when he began dragging his right foot. He began to notice numbness in his leg and entire right side. It was finally decided that his doctor should perform an exploratory laminectomy to find the cause of the increasing lack of control. The back half of a number of vertebrae in the middle of his back were removed to reveal that the nerves in his spinal cord was filling with scar tissue, or the nerve were. Anyways, his wound was closed and he was informed that he would gradually become numb from his feet to the top of the injury, which was about in the middle of his chest. By 1967, he was working from a wheelchair, and in 1968, he was released from work on an early disability retirement. In 1970, Norm was admitted to hospital and learning how to be self-sufficient as a paraplegic. He had to learn how to exercise with pulleys while his patient, loving wife faithfully helped put his body through full range of motion every morning before he went to work. The muscles in his legs and buttocks atrophied until there was very little flesh between his skin and bones. He had to sit on special pillows to keep from getting bed sores. Losing control of his excretory capabilities made matters even worse. Every day became a strict regimen of timing and exercise just to be able to survive. The next 8 years seemed a slow descent to deeper troubles. Finally, Norm found it was impossible for 1/4 of his body to lift the other 3/4 of his virtually dead body. If he fell out of his wheelchair, he had to call his wife home from work to help him get back in. Norm became concerned about the lack of circulation in his legs. A friend of his, in similar circumstances, lost by surgery first his toes, then his foot. The third operation took his leg from the knee down. He did not want to go through this dehumanizing and expensive experience. About the middle of August 1978, Norm was introduced to rebound exercise. After a brief explanation of the basic concepts, he agreed to try it. After all, he thought, what have I got to lose? His wheelchair was rolled up to the rebounder, and his numb feet and legs were placed in the middle of the rebounder for about 5 minutes. Next, Norm was lifted out of his wheelchair and placed on special pillows sitting in the middle of the rebounder, with someone standing behind him. Providing the bounce, Norman began his new way of life. So someone was actually bouncing for him while he was on it. These glasses are kind of like down, but that's okay. Okay. At this writing, Norm Nelson has been rebounding for at least 5 days a week for the last 4 months, at least 1 hour a day. A half hour sitting on his wheelchair next to the rebounder with his feet in the middle, and another half an hour sitting on the rebounder. His church group was getting people to take turns jumping for him and his neighbor. Okay, the following are changes that have been noticed by Norm, his family, and friends. This is like a long list. It's amazing. Within the first 3 days, skin tone color was seen in his right foot instead of steel gray. 100% improvement in lung capacity within first week. Healthier flesh tone color to the entire right side of his body, especially to his face. Increasing feeling sensations to the lower 3/4 of his body that had been numb for 11 years. He is able to separate his knees by the use of his muscles, something he hasn't been able to do for 9 years. Norm has noticed feelings in the muscles in his back, just above his belt, for the first time in 11 years. He has also noticed that his legs have become more fleshy and some muscle in his buttock was developed where before there was nothing. He has more energy, making it possible to stay awake longer, making a longer day without feeling tired all day long. He has a stronger arms and upper body, making it easier to transfer higher and further in and out of his wheelchair. He has changed from a 14 1/4 shirt collar to a 16-inch collar. He is much warmer during the day, no longer needs a sweater. Norm claims his elimination has improved 1,000%. We do not have that problem and do not know what he's talking about. So that's just his what he said. His lovely wife says that he is easier to get along with. According to the University of Washington, at his last physical checkup, he reduced his blood pressure from 152/95 to 124/80. 15. Norm feels it is important to note that although the energy necessary for him to rebound comes from external means by other people assisting him by providing the bounce, he has noticed he has reduced his waistline and tightened his stomach. Norm Nelson is no longer dead from the chest down. He is very much alive. We don't know what the future will bring, but in the last 4 months, if the last 4 months are any indication, he is in for a long, steady climb. He is pleased with his progress and is willing to wait. It is we who are the healthy who always seem to be impatient. So I just thought that was just like super cool. Again, yeah. The Miracles of Rebounding exercise. There we go. How about that? By Albert E. Carter. And it's in the notes down below. And I have some funky links, and I think that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video and it will serve you well.